Welcome to the Full Tummy project. This is a unit standard assessment that is going to assess two 3-credit unit standards, one in digital image creation and one in designing and building a website. Now, because they're unit standards, they don't require you to follow the full technological process, but as you are going to be doing technology achievement standards in term 3 and 4, I thought we would overassess these standards and get you to practice some elements of the technological process. So this PowerPoint is going to step you through the minimum requirements I expect from all of you in the next 4 weeks during this project. So in terms of project management, you are expected to use planning tools, and the tools that I'm expecting you to use, obviously you're going to set some milestone dates in there, use Gantt charts, and also do weekly reviews. Initially you're going to have to do what I call chunking. That's where you divide the project into stages, and those stages are going to be the planning stage, creating, and evaluating. And you'll find probably that the creating stage is the shortest of the 3, believe it or not. You'll need to set milestone dates for each stage, so in other words when you expect each to finish, and also identify what outcomes you expect to achieve during each of those. In other words, what tasks will fall under there. So for example, planning would include things like meeting the client, writing a brief, doing some initial research online, those mock-ups, or pencil sketches, mock-ups, and so on. You also need to identify how you're going to allocate time and resources to each stage. So again, for example, planning, you're going to need Photoshop to do the mock-ups, and say then the creation stage you'll need Photoshop again because you're going to need to cut up your image, and then you also need Dreamweaver to actually build the website. Use the plan, obviously try and follow it. In a 4-week project you'll probably stick to it fairly closely, but if there are any major changes, just note them down and justify why you made them, or certainly explain why you made them. And you're expected to use a Gantt chart to organise your time, and if you haven't seen one before, this is what a Gantt chart looks like. It's a visual way of organising your time. This is very basic, and we will certainly be going over this in class. We'll spend some time in Excel putting the Gantt chart together, so don't worry if you haven't done one before. You're also expected to do a weekly review, so I'd say every Thursday or Friday you'll need to review your week and explain what you did that week, and how it would differ from your plan if it does, what you're going to do in the following week, and what resources you'll need, as well as any changes to the big picture, to the big plan, if any. And these weekly reviews will be recorded on the school intranet, and you can find the form for this under the Full Tummy document library, and it looks a little bit like this when you go into it. You just click on New to add your own weekly review. There's a sample one I've put in myself, so you can have a read through and get some ideas of what I'm expecting from you. Now, after meeting your client that first time, you're going to write an initial brief, and that will detail your client and company name, plus the role of the client, the purpose of the site, why he wants it, names of any other relevant stakeholders, so important people who might have another say in the site or be affected by it, demographics of the target audience, so what sort of people are we expecting to target here, the deadline, and also any specifications, which are specific things that the client and stakeholders will want on their site. Now try to meet those other key stakeholders as early as you can, because their ideas will certainly give you more specifications in your brief, and also a lot more ideas for your design, because your client will probably miss some things. Now the brief is a live document, so it's going to constantly change throughout the planning stage. Your research, your brainstorming, your stakeholders will certainly change or add to the specifications in the brief. And this final brief, when you sort of finish at the end of your planning, should contain outlined specifications against which the final solution can be evaluated. In other words, we can say very easily yes or no, this final design has met the specification. There should be no ambiguity there at all. When you're brainstorming ideas, and I'd like you all to do this, use inspiration. It's a nice, easy tool to use, and you're going to need to consider things like the needs of the stakeholders and what they want, design issues, common ones such like as colours, fonts, screen resolutions, loading times, and also any technology issues such as if you want to include an animated banner, you may need to use Flash, that sort of thing. And there's an example of a very simple brainstorm. Now, it may seem like a lightweight thing to do, but it is definitely a good idea, and I'm expecting you all to have done one. Now, when you're developing your design, the following things you'll need to see. So I want to see some screenshots of existing websites, so some research that you've done with some comments about what you like about them. So maybe you like the navigation bar on this one, or you like the way they've done the colours in this one. Then do some rough pencil sketches on paper with some comments showing, maybe what areas you're going to use from your research, or just explain the colours and that sort of stuff. Like, it doesn't have to be really accurate, it can be very rough and on paper, and then start mocking them up in Photoshop once you've got a good idea of what you want to do. Now, the pencil sketches are necessary for one of the unit standards, so don't skip that step. And when you present your final design to me, your client, you're going to need to write a short report that explains how it meets the specifications in the brief, how it reflects your research, and also why it's an appropriate design. Now, when you're creating your site, cut the images out from your mock-up in Photoshop, then put the site together in Dreamweaver using CSS, show it to me at that point, and I can make sure that everything's on track before you go too far. Then, if I'm happy, save it as a template, and then use that template to create all the pages of the website, link them together, upload it, and then show me again, and I can give you some feedback on that final site. When you're evaluating it, and give yourself certainly 2 to 3 periods, if not longer on this, you'll need to check the site in a range of browsers, such as Internet Explorer, Firefox, Chrome. Also check it on a range of screen resolutions, from the smallest 800 by 600 up to the biggest. You'll need my approval for the uploaded website before you're finally done with the project. You'll also need to get your stakeholders to have a look at it, and also get your classmates to check the spelling there. Very important, no spelling mistakes. Make sure the links and the images all work. Now, that last line there, all that must pass, otherwise you will not pass the second unit standard. So that is the process you need to follow. I know it's involved, but it's only 4 weeks, so we'll need to whip through it.